So picture this. You're sick, head pounding, coughing up something gross. It's 1650. You walk into a fancy European pharmacy. Velvet curtains, jars everywhere. Something smells weird. So picture this. The doctor smiles and hands you your medicine. It's ground up human skull. Yes, you heard that right. This was not some strange fringe ritual. It was medicine. Prescribed, trusted, sold in real pharmacies. For over 500 years, Europeans used human flesh, blood, bone, and even fat to treat diseases. And it wasn't just poor, desperate people doing this. It was kings, priests, highly respected doctors. King Charles II of England, he had his own favorite cure, a drink called the King's Drops. The ingredients? Alcohol, gold, and crushed human skull. He drank it like a wellness shot. This wasn't considered creepy. It was just smart, effective, or so they thought. The logic behind this bizarre tradition came from something called sympathetic magic. Basically, the idea that like cures like. So if your head hurt, you consumed a head. If your bones ached, you took powdered bone. If you needed strength, you drank blood. Fresh, if possible. Execution sites became pharmacies. When a prisoner was executed, crowds would rush the scaffold and collect blood from the corpse. People actually believed that drinking it on the spot could cure epilepsy. Others would wait to collect the fat, which was melted down and used in ointments. The executioner. He wasn't just swinging an axe. He was a supplier. This gets darker. Egyptian mummies, stolen from tombs, were crushed into powder and sold across Europe as medicine. They called it Mumia. It was used to treat everything from stomach pain to internal bleeding. Demand was so high, fake mummies were manufactured, wrapped up, stuffed with random bones, painted to look ancient. No one cared if they were real, as long as they looked exotic. It's easy to look back and laugh. But remember, these people weren't trying to be monstrous. They were trying to survive. And medicine, as they knew it, was brutal. If something might work, they were willing to try it, even if it came from a corpse. What's really wild is that while Europeans were grinding up mummies and sipping human fat tea, they were also accusing indigenous peoples around the world of being savage cannibals. The irony is off the charts. But this was not some short-lived medieval phase. Human-based medicine persisted all the way into the 19th century. Some reports even suggest it lasted into the early 1900s in remote parts of Europe. And yet, this entire chapter of medical history has been quietly buried, sanitized, forgotten. Why? Because no one wants to admit that Western medicine once involved drinking human blood and rubbing body fat into bruises. Imagine going to your local chemist, and next to the cough syrup is a nice little bottle labeled pulverized thief's jawbone. Sounds absurd, but that was real, and not that long ago. So while we like to imagine that the past was full of logic and noble scientists in robes, a lot of it was guesswork, superstition, and trial by corpse. This brings us back to the cold nights, the freezing winters that medieval peasants had to endure. They didn't just battle the cold. They battled plague, infection, fevers that killed entire families in days. And when there were no doctors, or when doctors were recommending powdered skulls, you turned to whatever hope you had. You waited outside a hanging. You bought some blood from a man with a knife. You heated up human fat and prayed it worked. There's a kind of desperation in all of this that's hard to judge, because we still chase miracles. We still pay thousands for experimental cures, mystery supplements, unproven injections. We don't grind up mummies anymore. But let's not pretend We've stopped being desperate. So next time you feel sick and take a pill, be grateful it doesn't scream when you swallow it. And somewhere, deep in the archives of European medicine, there's still a handwritten recipe for ground up mummy soaked in wine and sipped slowly before bed. Cheers.